What's up everybody and welcome to another episode of Viking in the Jungle. My name is Eric the Viking and this is the jungle. Since we're back in the Dominican Republic again, it is time to show my design. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, if you're new to the channel or you completely forgot what Holandito looks like, here's a little refresher of what the land looks like. So now you might be wondering, what now? I've asked myself that question multiple times, and the way that I'm going to explain it to you is I'm going to share my design according to a few what I've come to learn are very important permaculture design principles. And those are water, earth, fire, air. Okay, I was kidding. The real principles are water, access, and structures, which was for me funny to be learning about because naturally I just wanted to start building and I didn't really care about the water and I didn't really want to think about it. But if you don't control the water in your land, you can't really control your land. And so that's where we're going to be starting with the water plan. As I said, water is extremely precious and sometimes it will fall with ridiculous amounts out of the sky and sometimes you'll just have weeks where it's not raining at all, and so the land needs to be able to catch, to slow and to soak as much water as possible.
Here you see a height map of the land. This is where we started the design because it shows that the highest point of the land is 33 meters above sea level, located in the grass area, while the lowest point is 25 meters above sea level in the forest area. And as you can see, the water on the grass area will naturally flow towards the north-northeast direction as the lowest point of the grassland is 31 meters above sea level. In order to manage the rainfall, I've incorporated swales, which are designed to work together.
Swales are tree growing systems. They're effectively ditches in the ground that you put on the contour lines of your land so that it can catch as much water as possible and keep it in there so that the water can soak in the ground. And then basically what you do is you plant trees around it so that the roots can go to the water and have a longer period of time where they can enjoy the water that falls from the rain. Otherwise it would just run off the land and will just go into the river and your land wouldn't have any benefit of it.
Each row of swales has its own responsibility for its own area to catch the rainfall in. And since the record amount of rainfall measured 273 liters per square meters that fell in one day, that's a lot. So the swales maybe overflow at times, but the idea is to let them overflow into each other before they eventually are allowed to flow the water back to the river. While the forest area naturally absorbs the heavy rainfall much better than the grassland, I've also designed a lazy river here to slow down the water flow. This lazy river is basically just a long, gently sloping river, allowing the water to meander and soak up in the ground before finally ending up in a serene pond.
Okay, so let's move on to access. This one is actually quite simple because the only thing I really wanted to have is one main road that connects to the public road, goes all the way to the Kunuku, to the edge of the grassland, so that it helps me harvest all the vegetables and all the fruits that come from the forest. And then from there I also wanted to have one sub road that goes to the main house once I build it. So I designed it to be on top of on the highest point of the land, so any water that would fall on the road would just go into the land instead of puddle down on the road. Alright, so now we have water, we had access, and it brings us to buildings.
First up, I'm planning to build a simple wooden deck on concrete poles, topped with a canvas bell tent. This will then serve as my initial shelter, providing a bug-free zone and somewhat of a comfortable space to stay longer on my land. It will help me get the answers to important questions like where to source the materials and how much to pay for them and how to transport them to the land and what is it even like to be building in the area. Then, with the experience in my back pocket, I'm going to move to the second structure. For the second structure, I'm thinking of building some form of an infinity deck that hangs over the drop between the grassland and the forest and will create a seamless transition from grass to forest, and it will also provide a perfect place to install a hammock. This larger deck will have a structured roof, which will be a little bit more challenging to build, but it will definitely provide me for an amazing space to relax and enjoy the breathtaking views. Moving on to the next structure, we'll get to the main house, which will be the most complex and expensive structure of them all. I'm planning to build some form of a container home with a large outdoor deck as the primary living space. You want to be living outside anyway. And I also have plans for a large water storage area behind the house and a shade house where I can take care of smaller plants until they're ready to be placed in the full sun in the garden.
Now, of course, I have an entire list of species of fruits and vegetables that I want to plant, but I won't go into detail on exactly what I'm going to plant in this video because it would just become a very boring video. So I'm not going to do that. But what I can do is I can explain a little bit of the zoning that I used in order to design the species and the plants that I want to be planting on my land. How permaculture zones work is you split your land up into 5 different zones. Zone 1 is where you are every single day. That is your immediate environment. So that is, for example, where you would plant your gardens with vegetables that need your attention every single day. Since you're there every day, you could take care of them every day. And then from there you go further on out from zone 1. Zone 2, for example, would be vegetables and fruits that would need your attention once a week. But when you go to zone 3, those would be crops that would need your attention once a month, for example. And then zone 4 would even use less of your attention, and zone 5 is just wilderness that you give back to nature. And so this way you zone your property according to the amount of attention that the crops need. And it will be very easy to be maintaining the land in that way because your travel distance becomes shorter. Alright, so that's the design. It took me a long time of contemplating, of drawing, of reimagining, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I absolutely loved the process. So I'd love to hear from you as well. If you have any ideas about the design, then please post them down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I also just want to thank you for watching these videos. You know, for as much as it takes me time to think out these things that I want to do on the land and to plan all the things I need to do on the land, it also takes a boatload of time to make these videos, so I really appreciate that people are watching it and that you watched it all the way to the end. That's really cool, and I also wanted to let you know that I'm not necessarily this time going to stick to a very strict schedule on YouTube, because I just noticed that it takes so much time and so much energy to make these videos that it kind of takes away of the experience. And if there's something I do not want is to become a bitch of the algorithm. Don't tell her that. So I think I'm going to be posting once every 2 weeks or something like that, and I really want to make sure to do a good job of documenting all the important pieces of this project so that someone who would be thinking of doing a project like this as well could be inspired or could get new ideas and stuff like that. And that's really the purpose of this video, all these videos that I'm making. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video of Viking in the Jungle, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.